Hello, there I go. Hello, everyone. Let's see if you guys can hear me. Just kind of move some stuff around. Hello, everyone. It is your girl, leading Lady Dar here, coming before you live, as I do occasionally. But lately, I have decided to, in order for me to be effective in what it is that I set out to do, I have to be consistent. So I'm working on that. So I've decided to focus on one of my businesses as opposed to kind of sprinkling myself all over for the many businesses that I do have. So again, hello. My name is Darnice Bragg. I am the founder and owner of an organization called Walk in Them Shoes. I hope you guys can hear me. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. I'm the founder and organization. I'm the founder of an organization called Walk in Them Shoes. And that organization is designed to help empower women. This organization I formed back in 2017. And I was given the privilege, the honor. A former bishop has spoke a word into my life, knowing the things that I uh, believed in, knowing the things that I survived and went through. It still was kind of hard for me to believe that when that word was spoken in my life, that this would be something that I would, I would do, and didn't have a problem doing it at all, but just didn't believe that me, little old Nisi Darnice, would be speaking in front of people and helping women to overcome struggles, obstacles that they're going through. So again, my name is Darnice Bragg. I'm the founder of an organization called Walk in Them Shoes. I am also the founder of the nonprofit Walk in Them Shoes Girl. So let me just share a little bit of what the difference is. So Walk in Them Shoes is the organization where I do my speaking engagements. I do mentorship. I do one-on-one coaching. That's the vehicle that most people take to help get themselves through, over, and just help themselves find themselves again and become the woman that they either once were and they kind of got lost in the shuffle of a relationship or something that may have taken place in their life. That is the vehicle that most people use to help guide them and steer them on and help keep them on the right track. Walking Them Shoes Girl, the nonprofit organization, actually is in existence. It is in existence, meaning it exists. Uh, but that particular part of my business, I'm still building. That's the place where that is the organization that I'm using to house that, to build that transitional housing for women who are in a struggle, women who are trying to find their way. Women again that have lost their way due to domestic relationships, due to, a lot of different things that women go through in life. So these organizations will somewhat tie into one, but you have the nonprofit and then you have the organization. And I'm fortunate to have both and have my hands in both in building and creating, designing, and putting these things together. Um, my mission totally with both organizations is to have a woman, and if I can just speak just to one particular woman, I'm speaking to many, but if I can just touch the life of one individual woman who may have struggled mentally, who may have struggled financially, may have found themselves in a domestic violence relationship, and they lose themselves. They get lost in that transition. They get lost in that scuffle. They get lost in that relationship. And sometimes it's hard to get your feet back on solid ground. Sometimes it's just hard. And sometimes, even though they're uncomfortable and they're in this abusive relationship, they still sometimes become comfortable where they are, right? And it's sad, but it's true. And ask me how I know. Ask me. I know because I was there. I was in an abusive relationship. I I was in an abusive relationship at such a young age. At the age of 18, I was with my partner and had initially, we didn't have any children in the beginning when the abuse started. But throughout the years of abuse, we created three beautiful children. And I went through that relationship. I suffered. I suffered mentally and I suffered physically. I really didn't think initially I was in an abusive relationship because I was fighting this individual back. And if you ever been to any of my uh, affairs, if you've ever been to any of my speaking engagements, any place that I've been asked to speak to, whether I've given it myself or were asked to speak to women, you would know and you'll hear of my story. So I won't go into much detail about it, but just know that I can relate. I can empathize because I've been there. I've been that woman that was physically abused. And I've been that woman that was in a relationship who thought, you know, this was love and that it can get better. It will get better, but right now this is just what it is. So unfortunately, I struggled in that relationship and it took some things out of me. So in building this organization, Walking Them Shoes, I built that to help mentor and coach women, not just who are or have been physically abused, but who have lost their way in life because sometimes when you're in abusive relationships or sometimes when you're stuck in a rut, whatever that rut may be, a financial rut, a mental rut, mental breakdown, whatever that rut may be, it's hard sometimes trying to see your way out of it. It's easy for us to say as coaches, you have to see yourself to see yourself. That is true. You do have to see yourself to see yourself. You have to see it to believe it. You have to see it, but sometimes the distortion come when you're at in an argument or a relationship where the other party is constantly putting you down. You tend to lose who you may once was or who you may have thought you were. You tend to lose a lot. It's like almost being like a being chipped away at each and every day or each and every time that you encounter a argument or or an abusive moment. If you're fighting, if you're getting abused, each time that does something to you, it does something to your self-esteem, it does something to your character, it does a lot to you. And if you don't have more positive things lifting you up, you imagine you once stood tall and now you're hunched over and now you're bent over and now you're weak. And anytime someone says anything to you, you're on a defense, so it can be a struggle for many. And that's why I chose to do what I do, and that is try to get back in my organization. So I just want to share with you briefly. I wanted to come before you guys to share. I speak on my YouTube videos, I speak on Facebook Lives, I speak in person. I do workshops, I mentor, I coach, and I do it from the bottom of my heart. No, I don't always do it for free, because it's rewarding to be able to help someone, but also I am providing services. So yes, I do get paid for that. But my organization is to empower women. And I also want to start with the younger ones because had I found out about Walking Them Shoes when I was 18 years old, I don't think I would have stayed in that abusive relationship as long as I did. So giving the knowledge and sharing and pouring into a young woman, I think is the best thing that we could possibly do as women. So I just want to speak on quickly um, the types of abuse. We have this thing now, and I don't think back then in 88 or 89 that we knew anything about narcissistic behaviors or what a narcissist was. But you have physical abuse, you have mental and emotional abuse, you also have sexual abuse. You have these different categories of abuse, but they all can tie into one. And when I say they all can tie into one, I say that because tears a woman down. It tears a person down. Now, let me just make this clear. I did an interview several times. I'm sorry. I do interviews when I'm asked to do interviews and talk about what it is that I do. I do still also like to acknowledge that it's not just women that are being abused, there are men being abused. But I have to say that what made me choose this topic this evening was because I think within the last month, just within 30 days, three people, and I didn't know these individuals personally, but three people that was a friend of a friend, and one was a relative to a friend. I mean, one was a relative who lost her sister to um, domestic abuse. And then there was a friend who did an interview for me with me. Um, Someone she knew was killed by their domestic partner, by their significant other, maybe even their spouse. I'm not sure. And then there was a friend who knew of someone young. I'm talking about young. Her boyfriend killed her. So domestic abuse is real. It's so prevalent. Is it's just like I didn't know it was really that bad when I was going through it over 30 years ago. I didn't know it was that bad. And I guess that's one of the reasons why I took it lightly because I just didn't think, and because I was fighting the individual back, I didn't think I was being abused. I just thought we were just fighting. But you have these different types of abuse, and it can tear you down. It can destroy you. If it don't kill you, it can destroy you. It takes a lot from you. And if you're raising children, what good are you to your children if you're so mentally beat down? How can you function? How can you function, and be of good to yourself, let alone to your children that are probably depending on you? And that was one of the most hurtful things to me when I look back on why I stayed. You know, I was not able to give of myself to my children wholeheartedly because I was broken inside. You know, Whether the individual was in a room with me or not, the things that he had did to me, the things that he had said to me had broke me down. So it tore me up inside. So yes, I would go around family and try to smile and pretend like everything was okay, and it wasn't. And my mother saw through that. She saw through that. In fact, she had spoke to me and told me early on, way before this individual and I had started getting very serious. She witnessed this individual speaking to his mother out of a real bad tone, in a real bad tone. And my mother turned and looked at me and said, "A man that don't respect his mother will never respect you." And that is true to this day. That was true then, and I just kind of brushed it off. But had I listened to that advice, I probably wouldn't have had three children by that individual. I probably wouldn't have been through that abusive relationship. But that is so. So my mission and my goal is to help alleviate some of that pain, some of that hurt, and try to get a woman out of those circumstances. So of course, you have women organized against rape, right? Women organized against rape. Yes, wait, that's war. Yes, you have women organized against rape, and you also have women against abuse. So those are two different entities, but they still tie in. And I guess the reason why war came to mind is because, you know, there's sexual abuse that's going on out here, and it is not just women being raped by strangers. Women are being raped by their husbands. Women are being raped by men that they're dating. Girls are being raped by guys that they're dating, or even just going over a friend's house, and she said no, and he's saying yes. She said no, and he's saying yes. And they take advantage of that opportunity. And that's rape. If it's against that woman's will, if it's against what she say, and you take it and you force yourself upon a woman, that's rape. So you do have women organized against rape. That's war. You also have women against abuse. I think I did write down a phone number: 1-866-723-3014. That is women organized. No, that is women against. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm getting the two mixed up, but they both are two entities that serve women in a community that are being physically abused, Woman Against Abuse. That's what it is. Woman Against Abuse. I'm sorry. 1-866. I'm sorry, y'all. 723-3014. Um, and just want to share now today, as I just mentioned, back 30 years ago, I never heard of the word narcissist or narcissistic behavior. But now today, you hear it all the time. And people are in relationships with people that are narcissists. And it's not funny, but when you think about some of the symptoms that some of these people display, you think about their behaviors, their characteristics. And if I'm not mistaken, and I'm going to go off the top of my head, even though I did speak on this at one point in time, but narcissists, if you want to really define it, they kind of defined it as someone who is always about self. It's deeper than just someone being just about self. It is so much deeper than that, y'all. Narcissistic behavior, a narcissist is a person who will deny anyone's reality but their own. That's my twist on it. And I guess if you look it up and they say narcissist is someone that just is about self, it's not so much just about self. Yeah, they are just about self, but they're about self, but they never take ownership in what they do and what they say unless it is something that's boosting their ego up. You get it? So it's like they are about self. And it's not like so much, okay, well, if two people are in a relationship, and this is one thing that I really want, and the reason why I also started, and I didn't make mention of this, was Girls with Grace is that organization or that part of walking them shoes. Girls with Grace is helping the younger woman, the young girls, teaching them about healthy relationships, because now today, I mean, excuse my expression, but some women will allow a man to call them a bitch, and that's like a term of endearment. Girls call each other, bitch, and back in the day that used to be disrespectful. So it's a lot of things that we didn't tolerate back 30, 40 years ago, now that a lot of our young girls are tolerating today. So to talk about, I really want to take these glasses off because I can't see. But if y'all can see me in my eye has been really giving me some problems. My eyes are a little bit puffy and swollen, going off topic a little bit. But I've been having some problems with my eye, and it's really bad. But nonetheless, speaking on the abusive situations, my organization has also created a safe space for not just women, but also young girls, girls with grace, who are who call themselves in a relationship. And yeah, they are. But is it a healthy relationship? Do these young girls know about healthy boundaries? Do they know about how a person is supposed to treat them, whether it's the same sex or it's the opposite sex? Healthy relationships are important. And if you're in a relationship with someone who is abusive, you definitely need to make your way out of that relationship. You definitely, it's not, I totally understand that it's not easy. I totally get it. This woman that's sitting before you and speaking to you live now, totally understand, because I was once in that situation. And let me tell you, it's not a good thing, because you're straddling the fence. You know it's wrong. You love them. You want to stay because you're going to hope that it gets better. You want to stay because, yes, y'all have some good times, and you're probably trying to convince yourself that the good outweigh the bad. But honey, if he's putting his hands on you, that is not good. If he's destroying you, tearing you down mentally, and let's talk about mental abuse. Let's talk about that, because some people think that, oh, well, because he's not putting his hands on me, that is okay. And some people look at it like, oh, my husband or my boyfriend, oh, he just talk it. He talks shit. Excuse the expression, but that's what they say. He talks shit. In that talking, and while he's talking at shit, if he's disrespecting you, if he's tearing you down and not building you up, that's an abusive relationship. That's mental abuse. And mental abuse is one of the, I mean, don't get me wrong, physical abuse is wrong totally. But mental abuse is the worst. Because guess what? If he got you mentally, now he can get you physically and he got you boxed in. You see what I'm saying? So you got the mental and the emotional abuse. They run neck to neck, hand in hand. That emotional abuse where they tear you down, make everything your fault. That's part of that narcissistic behavior. Those narcissists, okay, so I don't know why my computer just did what it did. But let me find my mouse so I can move it back over. People with narcissistic that tend to have that narcissistic behavior. Um, tend to blame you, and you start questioning whether you're right. You start questioning your motives, you start questioning everything, and that if you just said something to this individual and it get to that point where you feel as though, you know what, because I've been in a relationship with an individual that I believe was totally truly, and initially I didn't want to believe it, but totally believed that this person was narcissistic. And it would get to the point where when you say something and that individual respond back, and you said maybe the sky was blue and it looked so beautiful outside. And that individual took it, twisted it, threw it upside down, shook it up, twisted it all around and spit it back at you, and then made you feel as though you said something wrong, and try to make you believe that you said what they thought you said. And in a case like that, you will get to that point where, you know what, I ain't gonna talk to this individual unless I can record this conversation. I'm gonna record this conversation so this individual can hear clearly what I said and then repeat it back. And then also hear what he has said or she has said. So that way you're not losing it. If it ever gets to that point, boo, you having a conversation with a sick person, okay? A sick person that could possibly be suffering with that narcissistic behavior. And it's unhealthy. It is unhealthy. Being in a domestic abusive relationship is very unhealthy. And I also speak on one of my I'm sorry, one of my topics for my speaking engagements is being a better you. And in being a better you, I break down how, if you're in an abusive relationship, how you can get yourself out of it. I won't go into that much detail, but I will tell you this. A E plan, ask me what an E plan is. A E plan, ladies, is your escape plan, because it's not always easy to pack your stuff up and walk out that door. That's a good feeling to be able to do, I'm gonna tell you. But if you have small children, you have to develop a E-plan. If you two are married, sometimes you have to develop a E-plan, because who knows if the finances are riding on the both of you. If you can fend for yourself on your own income, you have to develop a E-plan. So it's wise to develop a E-plan. But if you're in an emergent situation where you don't have time for that, if this person is commencing to whoop your behind every day, every week, and you're coming home every day to an abusive relationship, always arguing, then you might not have time to sit and write that E-plan. But if you do, I suggest you taking a journal, finding yourself a journal, something that can be yours and that it's not always out in the open for other people to read, and start to write your plan. And that plan can consist of, one, I always recommend, write down what you're feeling right there, right then in that moment. Write down what you're feeling. And when you write down what you're feeling, you're releasing that hurt and that pain. You're getting it out. And now that'll help you see clearly. It'll help you see a little clearer. And now you can devise a plan. If you need to start to save money and hide money and put money away, if you need to reach out, and this is one thing I do recommend, that you do reach out to a friend and share with them what you're going through. You might not have to go into great detail, but share with them what you're going through. So that way they know that in the event, if this cycle continues, something happens again, you can reach out to that individual and they will be your accountability partner. They will help you. When you start to go back to that individual for whatever reason, while you're still trying to work your E plan, they will keep you abreast. They will keep you, stay on top of you, and remind you that, hey, look, I know things are smooth right now, sweet, but don't forget your plan. because that can happen, and that happens when you're in a relationship and it's abusive. It's physical or emotional abuse. This week y'all good, and next week, last week y'all were going through so much turmoil, so much arguing, you couldn't get a word out. He's slamming stuff, throwing stuff at you. He's in your ear constantly screaming, pointing his fingers, just shoving you and doing whatever. And then he comes back and apologizes. He might not even apologize, depending on, he might not even see his wrong in anything. You're a grown behind person, individual, and they might not even see that you're not their child and that they have no business talking to you like that. They may believe that this is what they're supposed to do. And some boys in a man's body think that this is how they're supposed to run their household. This is how they're supposed to talk to their woman in order for them to get respect. You just never know with those narcissistic behaviors. I'm telling you, it's mind-boggling when you sit and you listen to it and you read up on it. But making that E-plan is the best thing for you. It can help save your life. If you have little individuals that are counting on you, do it, sis, do it. Make sure that you're not just keeping a journal of what's going on. You're writing your exit plan. You have to, you must. This is detrimental to your life. Hear me when I say it. Let me speak clearly into this mic. It is detrimental to your life. So I'm not making fun. I am dead serious. I really take these matters to heart. So if you're in a relationship that's abusive, whether it's physical, mentally, emotionally, sexually, get out, devise a plan, tell someone what you're going through, begin to make that plan, begin to execute and make things happen for yourself. Or otherwise, I hate to say it, but what has been going on lately, we've been finding that these men are killing these girls, whether it's through the physical abuse of their physical hands or gun violence or stabbing, whatever it is. Women are really still losing their lives because there's this abuse that's going on. So again, my organization, Walk in Them Shoes, is an empowerment firm to help uplift and empower, encourage women. And their sole mission is to help get this woman together wholeheartedly, mentally, and heal you of their wounds of the heart. I'm really, really serious about this matter. And Walking Them Shoes Girl is the organization, it's the nonprofit organization that is going to be soon housing women for the transitional housing. So with that transitional housing and all, you'll be able to come full circle with that healing process. So, ladies, stay encouraged and know that your girl leading Lady Dar is here. She's rooting for you. I'm praying for you. If there's ever a need, please dial 267-632-6281. Again, 267-632-6281. Visit my website, walkinthemshoesllc.com. That is the organization, or you can also visit the nonprofit organization, www.witsgirl.org, witsgirl.org. It is your girl leading Lady Dara coming before you live, just sharing some information, sharing about this organization that I have, my sole purpose and my sole mission. It is to help women, help, because the help is needed. And I leave you with this. With my organization, it's great to be able to have a business. It's great to be able to have logo designs, as people think that that's a part of the business. Like that's, when people get their logos designed for their business, they become ecstatic, they become happy. And I know it's a part of the business. Yes, it feels good. It makes you feel like you're doing your business great and all. But this logo here behind me, this is me. And the posture that I'm in is me looking up, right? I have my heel kicked up, my leg kicked up, and I am looking up. So my organization, Walk in Them Shoes, is designed and empowered. It was because I went through an abusive relationship. I went through a lot of things in my life that I'm willing to share to help another woman overcome. So in this picture here, you see me looking up. I coincide this picture with the scripture, I look into the hills from which cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord. That's where my help come from. Kicking up my heel means I'm walking in them shoes, right? So here it is. I can celebrate the fact that I have a business, that I have a logo. Yes, you have t-shirts. Yes, I have mugs. And right now, I actually just came out the bombers, the jacket bombers, lightweight jacket bombers. But I want to leave you guys with this scripture. And the scripture is Proverbs 3, Proverbs 3, 5 and 6. I want to say Proverbs 3, 4, 5, and 6, but it's Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, right? I know it like the back of my hand, right? Proverbs 5 and 6. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. And I get a little bit emotional because this is my baby. This is what I birthed from the hurt and the pain that I dealt with, the hurt and the pain that I had to seek help for. But it's rewarding when I can look into another woman's eyes and see her hurt, but yet see that, knowing that I was once that individual, and knowing where I once was to where I am, and then also to where I'm going. I owe that to God. So how can I not acknowledge him? So again, my organization is based, Christian home base. Walk in them shoes because you can. Look into the hills from which cometh your help coming from the Lord. Then also Proverbs, I leave you with this, ladies. When you're writing that e-plan, write that at the top of your page. Proverbs 3, verses 5 and 6. And if it's not, it might be 3 and 4 or 5 and 6, something like that. Lean not to your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. And you can break it down however you want. Don't think about, okay, because we can think ourselves out of situations, right? We can think ourselves out of thinking, he not really abusing me. Oh, he really loves me. Think not on your own understanding. On all your ways, acknowledge God, and he will direct your paths. He will also make your crooked places straight. So please, walk in them shoes because you can. It is your girl, leading Lady Dora here. Thanks for sharing and liking this video, because I already know you liked it, right? You did, right? You did hit the like button. All right, now hit the subscribe button. So again, I can come before you. You'll be reminded when I do come and do my lives or do my videos. You'll be reminded. So again, thank you guys. Thank you, subscribers. My much love, excuse me. Much love to my family and to my friends for always supporting me. And check out my blog, y'all. Um, my last blog, I'm gonna get ready to go, but my last blog was single, saved, and something, something, something. I ain't even gonna tell you. Just go visit the website, walkinthamshoesllc.com, and look at the blog, read the blog. I got quite a few compliments on it, and I appreciate you all. And I have to just really commit. I really just had to acknowledge my sister-in-law here. She really called me up and she narrated the blog, first couple of sentences. And she did that thing so phenomenal. I said the next time, she don't even know it, but the next time I do a speaking engagement, I'm going to have her voice recorded doing the same thing. She's awesome. I love you, sis. Thank you so much for the many supportive women in my life. Thank you for those who support the organization. Thank you for those who believe in me. And thank you to my beautiful daughters and my son. I have 3 amazing children out of the abusive relationship that I was in. Imma tell you guys, I could have chose to be a ugly, bitch, nasty, angry, all of those things, but I did not. And instead, I turned my pain into purpose. I turned my pain into purpose, y'all. So stay encouraged on today. It is your girl, leading Lady Dora here. I love you all. And again, thank you so much for joining us live. Thank you so much for coming to subscribe to my YouTube channel, Walk in Them Shoes. Share and like this video, y'all. Thank you. Much love to you.